now going to touch the pad. Everybody in the world fused. Yeah, there you go. Now then, crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now, this is day 3 on getting Tool Girl Lilli's farm bike all fixed up and ready to ride for a Christmas special. Yesterday, day 2, we got the steering head bearings done and the front brake pads. They're all sorted now. Took a while, took a lot longer than expected because of the filming. But the video will be extremely long, so hey, this is why we've got a day 3. Plus I've spent a bit of time this morning editing up the first video, so you should see that in the next few days. This bike has to be done by the end of today, because it's got to go back to Auckland, so we can film the Christmas special one evening next week. That's the plan. Fingers crossed it's going to happen. So, what's left to do? Well, according to the comprehensive list, we've done the battery, we've fixed the problem with the charging, we've done the broken spokes, done the rear tyre, done the chain and sprockets, done the front pads, done the pull rod for the rear brake, which was missing. Ignition on, yeah, we fixed that pretty much in video 1. I've just been editing that bit up actually. Steering head bearings are done, tail light and rear light, I'm not going to have time to fix that. I'll have a quick look around, see if I've got a tail light that will fit, but I don't think I have. I'd like to see it go out with at least a tail light brake light assembly on the back of the bike. Indicators, I'm not too fussed about at the moment. We've still got to service the bike, do the oil filter and oil change, fit a new spark plug. Before we can do any of that, the first part of the service is going to be valve clearances. So, we really should make a start, pull the tank off, take a look. We've got the service manual somewhere, hiding away in the workshop from yesterday. There we go, look, so in there it's going to give us the valve specs. So we'll come back to the bench in a few minutes once we've taken the fuel tank off and we'll check out what the clearances should be. I did notice when we first started the bike up with Lily, there was a distinct rattle, a tap tap tap, which is a clear indication that one of the valve clearances is basically too large and needs to be made smaller, but we don't know by how much until we find out in the manual. Okay, well, the bike's up on the hoist ready to go, so let's make a start. Right, seat off again, and we need to get the fuel tank off because the cylinder head's underneath and we need access. So I think these plastic covers, yeah, they're going to come off with the tank, I think. Although there's a stay at the front. Okay, we'll get that whipped off. I think we'll take the covers off separate, I think, be easier. So 5mm Allen key all round. Now the front bolt holding that plastics on is just right under there, look. There you go. So I'll whip that out first, and then we'll get the ones out the side. Easy, right. That's that one. Just rust. No copper paste. Okay, so that's that one out of the way. Just a couple of little clips. It goes forward on the tank to get it off. Right, same on this side. One at the front first. Hey, come back. Where are you? There he is. Ooh. A little rubber thing. Where did that come from? Looks like it came off here, look. Oh, it's got an arrow on it, arrow for forwards. There we go, look. So that's probably going to fall off while we're working on the tank. So we'll take that off and the one off the other side. Just remind me to put it back on again later on. Tank's in pretty good nick actually. There we go, yeah, arrow forwards. I think they're both the same. There we go. I'll give that a bit of a clean while we're on. Lots of farm everywhere, look. Jeez. Right, now I need to undo the fuel line. Ha! Somebody's been in here, look. You know how I know? Because the little clip that holds the pipe, this one here, look, has already been pulled up. So somebody's already had a go at draining the tank or had the fuel tank taken off. So maybe there's something we don't want to find further on. Maybe that tapping noise is a bit more serious than just a valve adjustment. Jeez. There we go. Right. Perfect. Not leaking. That's good. Okay. What else to get the tank off? Let's take a look. Now we've got the standard sort of 2-bolt clamp. Some have 1, some have 2 down here, which has also got the bracket for holding the seat down as well. Let's whiz that off. Hopefully that's everything. Okay. Stick that on there. Now, don't lose the inserts or the grommets out of the fuel tank. That should now just slide back. Oh, hang on a minute, we've got another pipe. Ah, yes, the vacuum pipe. Now, this type of fuel taps basically will only allow fuel to flow in the on or reserve position when it senses vacuum from the intake manifold on this pipe. There's basically a little diaphragm in the back here, which pulls across and allows the fuel to flow. They have provided a prime position on the fuel tap that we saw earlier on, and that allows you to allow fuel to flow into the carb to fill the carb up when the engine's not running. A good position obviously to use when you've run out of fuel and stranded somewhere. Right, there we go, that's that pipe off. Perfect. Now we can get the tank off. There we go, easy. Right, now on top of the cylinder head we've got the 2 inspection holes to do the valve clearance. This is the exhaust valve, obviously, with the exhaust at this end of the engine, and this will be the intake valve. Now when you're undoing these caps, you ideally want to use a single hex socket, because some people do over tighten them and they're only aluminium and they can easily round off. Let's give this one a go. Right, fingers crossed. Oh, perfect. Right, that's nice and easy to get to. Right, now for the exhaust. Oh, Suzuki, what are you doing to me? God damn. Oh well, we're going to have to use a spanner. Well, here goes. You never know, it might undo. Oh, look at that. Luck is on my side, for once. Excellent stuff. Now, in order to adjust the valve clearances correctly, a few things need to happen. One, the engine has to be cold, i.e. not started. This engine hasn't been started since yesterday, so it's stone cold. We also need to make sure that the camshaft is in the correct position, and to do that we need to move the crankshaft. Fortunately there's a cam chain in between, so it helps to move the camshaft into the right place too. So we'll take a little look in the service manual, find out what timing mark we need to align, and we'll also take a look and see what the valve clearances, the specs, should be, and then we can check them and see which one's out, because one of them definitely is. Now, we should find under periodic maintenance, contents, break-in, information specs. No, that's not what we want, is it? That's generally, here we are, this is the proper one. Periodic maintenance, chapter 2, here we go. Right. Valve clearance, 2-4, so easy to find stuff. Okay, so what have we got? Well, you've done all that. Remove the horn, we haven't done that. I reckon we can work around that. Remove the spark plug. Okay, we can do that. We've got to fit a new one anyway. And remove the valve inspection caps. Done that. Remove the cam timing inspection cap and generator cap. So there's two little caps down here. One's up on the top. This is on the left hand side of the engine, and one is on the side. And we've got to align, rotate the generator rotor with a 17mm spanner, or socket, to set the piston at TDC on the compression stroke. This is really important. Remember, the crankshaft turns twice to one revolution of the camshaft, and we've got to get the camshaft in the perfect position. Right, this is obviously, that's often where people make a mistake, and they're 360 degrees out on the crank or 180 degrees out on the camshaft. The valve clearance specs are the same for both intake and exhaust. 0.08 to 0.13 millimeters. Well, that's bloody easy, isn't it? Okay, let's crack on. Right, sparking plug. Let's get rid of that. They might be right about the horn, you know. It does seem to be a bit in the way. It's not hard to move though. Okay, this will give us an idea of how well serviced this bike is as well. Look, judging by its condition of the chain and sprockets and stuff, not that well. Okay, well, the threads feel really good, and it's a bit sooty, but it has been stop-started quite a bit recently, so we'll forgive it for that. Okay, round the other side, and let's get those covers taken off. Hookly dokley. Right, these are the two covers that they're talking about in the manual. Got the one here, which will allow us to rotate the crankshaft in the anti-clockwise direction. That's the normal rotation. Very important as well, actually, you do it the right way. And this is the top cap that gives us the timing mark. It's a 10mm Allen key. Jeez, and it shouldn't be over tight, to be honest. Holy moly. There we go. That was tight. Wasn't going to fall out, was it? Now there'll be an O-ring in here. That's probably why it's a bit tight on the old threads. There we go, look. So we'll take Mr. O-ring out and we'll stick him back on there again. That's where he lives. Make sure it's sat properly. Yep, that'll do. Right. Now, this is a 17, I think, by the looks of it. Easy. Oh, right, okay. Sorted. Now, next job is to turn that crankshaft, and from memory it was a 17mm, wasn't it, nut down there, so I'll get a little mini power bar, a T-bar and a 17. You don't want to use a ratchet doing this because it can jump back on you. You want to use a T-bar, really. Right, oh, that's a bit bright. Is that any better? That's better, isn't it? Okay, sorry about the flicker. That's just the way it is. Okay, so I'm going to rotate the crank. There we go. I'll turn it anti-clockwise. You've got to look out for that line. And it should line up with this little arrow just here, look, on the casting. Now remember, we could be one full revolution out, so we'll have to check at the crankshaft to make sure we're off cam, we call it. Let's keep going. Oh, well, that's just like a rusty line, isn't it? We're looking for an, perfect. There we go. That is the etched line by the looks of it. God, it's so good with the camera. I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, let's check to see if these rockers are what we call rocking and off cam. Right, trying to do this with some pliers because you can't see what's going on with my fingers. So we're making sure that there is some kind of movement on that cam, on the rocker. You can see that? You can hear that little noise, can't you? So we've got clearance on the intake. Let's check the exhaust. Right, pretty hard shot to get on camera, but we'll give it a go. So again, we're looking to see if there's clearance on here. Oh yeah, there is, definitely. There we go. Right, so that's telling us we are off cam. The rockers are away from the lobes on the camshaft, so we're in the right position. We're on the compression stroke. And both valves are completely closed, because otherwise there won't be any compression, would there? Right, so we know that the crankshaft, the camshaft, is in the correct position on the compression stroke. we're at TDC basically. The pistons come up through the cylinder, it's compressed all the gases, both valves are completely closed, so therefore there's clearance on the rockers, on the tappets we call them, and basically any second now the spark plug is going to give a spark, or just has given a spark, and there'll be a huge explosion inside the cylinder, and it'll be pushing the piston back down on the power stroke. So what we need to do now is adjust the valve clearances. What was it? 0.09 to 0.13? I'm nearly there. 0.08 to 0.13. What a memory, eh? Okay, back to the bike. Oh, you'll need some feeler gauges for this to do your valve clearances. Right, it's an almost impossible shot on this bike, but we've got it lined up. So I've got, I think that's going to focus on that, but I've got the 0.15 feeler gauge. This is too large. If this fits in, we know we've got too big a gap. It's just trying to get a picture, see what's going on with the camera, so you can see what I'm seeing. I know that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Now, a bit fiddly. Right, you can see where I'm putting the feeler gauge, hopefully, which is basically at the bottom of this screw here, this adjustment screw, which goes onto the top of the valve. That's where you measure the adjustment. Now that feels tight, which is good. And it is only a very small movement. Right, we'll go down a size. So it was 0.08 is the minimum. So let's see if we can find, here's a 0.1. Let's see if this goes in. Doesn't. That's, oh, there we go, look. Right, that's just dragging, which is good. So there's no need to go any smaller, and I'm quite confident that we're within spec. I would say we are bang on 0.1 of a millimetre valve clearance on the intake, so we'll leave that alone. That is not the source of our knocking. Okay, it's time to do the exhaust valve. Now, just to help with the camera work, I could probably do it on my own without, if I'm not filming, to get the valve clearance done with the horn in position. But we'll take this bracketry off so I can get the camera lined up nice and easy for you, so you can see the exhaust valve being done. Oh, it's an 8. Bugger. Oh well, let's just take that plug off first. And I'm actually going to fit a new horn anyway, because this one, well, it wasn't working very well, was it? If you've been watching the other videos. Right, 8mm socket. There we go. Now, Mr. Horn should probably fall off as he is. There we go. Let's whiz round and get the other bolt off the other side, then we can get this whole bracket out of the way. There we go. Oh, she's tight. Right, that's that. That should just, I know why, it's trapped by this this wire. Let's just get rid of that. There we go. And now that should come off. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Right, back to the job in hand. Holy moly, that's one of the most impressive shots I've ever done. So close. Right, so I'm going to have to work from the difficult side. I think we can do it. Okay, so we had a 0.1, well, we're going to go back to the 0.15, which we know is too much. Now, hopefully this will not fit. How does it feel? Oh, there's a lot more movement on that one. So this is probably the source of our knocking. Let's just try and work out what the current clearance is, just to be definitive. Oh man, this is so hard. Maybe I can work under the camera, hang on. Oh man. Doesn't matter how big your workshop is, it's never big enough. If you could see what I was doing now. Oh, bit of dirt on the end of there. So I'm having to use the camera as my eyes, because it's actually completely in the way. I can go in from this side, but use the camera. Honestly, a lesser man would just give up. I just can't get the angle. Look, that's no good. So we've got to come in from this side. Suzuki should have said chop the frame out or remove engine. There you go. Right, so I just need to put a bend up on that. And maybe. Oh yeah, we're sort of almost there, aren't we? Sorry, camera. Sorry, camera. I need a little flat screwdriver, hang on. Right, maybe that's going to give me a little bit of the shove that I need to get it under. Should have got a little pick, really. Honestly, who would try to film this kind of stuff? So you can see down there the collets. Now I'm not buying time, I'm just saying that's the collets down there, and the valve, top of the valve is just above that. I really am sort of working blind at the moment. Hang on, it's bent round. And now it's got some dirt on it. Jeez. The life of mechanic, eh? You can see why, when they're doing on-farm servicing, they often don't bother to do valve clearance, especially on the stuff that's a bit hard to do. This is hard. This is only hard because there's a camera in the way. Man, I know that that's going to go in. There will be some editing coming up. I'm not going to have you painfully watch this all the way through. Right, I should have put the bike in the hoist backwards and I could have turned the front wheel then. And that would have given me a bit more room. Note for next time, Mr. Young. Oh, nearly. Don't do that. Just got to try and stop it from moving. I should never have even contemplated being a brain surgeon, should I? An ass. I'm just looking at the timer and it says 5 minutes I've been doing this for. Right, you can see the idea. I'm going to move the camera back and do the check. Right, you're back. Now I can get in. It could be around there, look. Well, that is too tight. It's in the right place and it won't go all the way through. So it's definitely not 0.15 of a clearance, which will be too much. So we'll try, see what we've got on here, look. Well, there's 0.3. and there's 0.1. So sorry, 0.03 and 0.1. So those two together, geez, this will raise the game, won't it, trying to get two in at once? Jeez. If these both fit in and are tight, then we're good. Honestly, who would put right where the frame is? There we go. Well, there's quite a bit of drag on that. Well, I think that's okay actually. We could tighten it up a little bit. Let's just try and find something that's going to be 0.8. Because there's a distinct rattle in it. That's definitely it. It's definitely distinctly a lot more than the intake. So, what can I do for a 0.8? Have I got 0.05 left? I've got a 3. Yes, I have. There we are, look. So 5 and a 3. There we go. That gives us 0.08, which is minimum spec. So I'm just going to undo the nut, the 10mm nut, turn the adjuster slightly clockwise, and then tighten the nut up, and then we'll recheck it. There we go. I've got 2 torches on the job now. Right. Oh, sorry, camera. So I'm just going to hold that in place with my little screwdriver. Oh, geez, that was tight. Okay, I'm just going to twizzle that a fraction and then hold it in place with the screwdriver again. Back a bit, there we go. And then give it a tweak. Oh man, can I not get a 2 to the next? Oh, Suzuki, you're a pain in the ass. Hey, there goes one torch. Okay, let's just measure that and see where we're at. Could take a while again, couldn't it? Oh man, that went straight in. Now we can go more than that. Hence why I didn't fully tighten it. Right, let's try that. Honestly, one valve, how long does it take to do the adjustment? It's not actually going through the valve, is it? It's rubbing against here. Does it sound the same? It does, doesn't it? I reckon that's going to be just fine. I'd like to prove it to you on camera. The problem when you're using such thin feeler gauges is you don't have any kind of strength to get them in place. You know what? I think we're good. I'm just going to try the 10, the 0.1, because I've got a bit more control over that one. Poor old feeler gauges. So this should not fit in. And if it does, then it's still okay. Right, I'm just going to see if I can push the valve down a fraction. Now there is a bit of clearance between the valve and the piston. I don't think it's going to happen, is it? I don't think it is. Sometimes you can push the valve down slightly, get your feeler gauge in, remove the screwdriver, and then you can feel the drag coming back. If you can't quite get it in to start off with. It's not, you won't find that in a manual. I think we were through then. I think we're just under, which is what we wanted. Just won't quite take the 0.1. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Sounds exactly the same, if not more actually. And the intake. So that'll do me. Let's just get it tweaked off as tight as we can. And what that does actually is it pulls the adjuster up on the threads, and it will actually increase the clearance of fraction anyway. Just got to make sure that the adjuster doesn't move. Right. Okay, let's just try it once more with the 0.1. It might now fit. Not quite, it is slightly more free. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Quite sure we are above 0.8 on that. Right, okay, we'll put the cats back on, I think. I've done with that one. That's that one. Now then, where's my spanner? There it is. Now, don't over tighten these because they can crack. We don't want that. Right, we'll stick the intake one back on as well. I just want to double check that I've done that nice and tight. Pretty sure that I did. Hold that, make sure it doesn't turn. Yep, that's good and tight. Right, cover back on. Ah, that was a pain in the ass for a single cylinder, 2-valve engine. What the hell? Intake was dead easy. Exhaust was a nightmare. There we go. Right, let's get those other covers put back on. Too easy. Right, so we did get some adjustment on the exhaust valve. Pretty sure it was actually excessive. It was just the fact we couldn't really get in. Even those little tiny feeler gauges that I have. Right, I checked the manual. I couldn't find the torque spec for this, so we'll just give it a little tweak. There we are. That should do us. Doesn't need to be over tight, people. Right, next job is let's put the new spark plug in because the old one's already out, so now's the time to do it. Now the spark plug is, here look, a DR8EA. Now it's not pre-gapped plug. If it was a pre-gapped plug, it would have -9 or -8 at the end. So we need to set the plug gap. So we should check that before we put it in. So while we're at the bench, let's do that. Right, it should tell us in here spark plug stuff. Oh, there we go, look. Okay, DR8EA, so we've got the right plug. And the gap should be 0.6 to 0.7 of a millimeter. Okay, so we've got a super duper Teng Tools feeler gauge. Look at that. Cheers, Brandon. Man, that guy gives me so much stuff. So 0.6 to 0.7. Well, there's 0.6. Let's try that. It goes in, look at that. Goes in, which is good. Okay, let's find the 0.7. There he is. And that one does not go in. So we are between 0.6 and 0.7, which is exactly what it needs to be. I would suggest it's probably 0.65. I think we have one of those. There we are, look. So I reckon this will go in. Just. Man, perfect. Look at that. Bang on. Right. Well done, NGK. You got it absolutely perfect for this particular bike. That's super. Okay, now I am unfortunately, well not unfortunately, I am one of the copper paste club for spark plug threads. If you don't like it, that's entirely up to you. There you go, less is more. Let's go and put it on the bike. I almost forgot. What's the torque setting? Torque setting for spark plugs. Or the spark plug. Carbon, spark plug gap, done that. Condition. It doesn't actually tell us the torque setting for the spark plug, does it? Jeez. It's got to be here somewhere. I'll find it. Unfortunately, Suzuki have declined to mention the tightening torque of the spark plug on the DR200S in their service manual. I've been through every page, can't find it anywhere. So I went online to the NGK website, put in the part number with the DR8EA spark plug number, and fortunately it told me in there tightening torques for a cast iron cylinder head and of course an aluminium. Now this bike has got an aluminium cylinder head, and converting it to Newton meters, we got 14.5 to 19.5 Newton meters, which to me sounds about right. I was going to go in there at 17 Newton meters, so that would have been about right, wouldn't it, really? Anyway, let's get the spark plug installed and then we can move on to the service. Here we go. Right, so I like to put these in just by hand so you can feel the threads. The last thing you want to do is to strip a thread or damage a thread or cross thread in an aluminium cylinder head because they're a bit susceptible. And again, I don't quite know the history of this bike, so it may not have been maintained that well. Okay, I've set my torque wrench to 17 Newton meters, which is right in the middle of spec. Now when installing a new spark plug, obviously the crush washer has to crush, and then it'll suddenly start to get tight. So you'll feel some resistance. This is now the crush washer starting to crush. Just keep going round. Now it's starting to get tight. Come on, click. God, I hate this. Oh, there we are, look. I hate doing this in aluminium heads. Right, perfect. So plug the old plug cap back on, make sure it looks pretty clean. It is super clean in there, actually. No signs of any tracking or anything, so stick that on there. Brilliant, right. Well, back to the bench. Okay, so in the interest of not making a video that's massively long, like I've made the last two videos, I'm going to put the fuel tank and other bits and pieces back on the bike. I'll find a new horn, and then we'll crack on and get the service done. So you potter off, have a cup of tea. By the time you come back, I'll have that bike back together and get it fired up, warm the oil up, do the oil change. Catch you later. Right, I'm back. The bike is pretty much all back together. I left the seat off because we've got the air filter to do after the oil change. But we've got the oil filter. There you go, look, HF132. We've got plenty of oil in the workshop. I'm going to put in a 10W40 semi-synthetic on this particular engine. Doesn't want fully synthetic. And mineral, I haven't got any, so semi it is. Let's take a quick look in the service manual and see what Suzuki say as regards doing an oil and engine filter change on this bike. Right, so periodic maintenance, obviously engine and oil filter change is pretty regular. There we go, engine oil and oil filter 2-7. It's actually a pretty cool bike, isn't it? Can't go wrong. Although the one we've got is slightly different to this. It's got a different back end to it, different tailpiece. But yeah, basically the same bike. Okay, what did we say it was? 2.7, there we go, look. Okay, Can you see everything? Right, replace initially at 1,000 kilometres, 600 miles or 3 months, and then every 5,000 kilometres thereafter. I mean, that's for normal sort of road going use. For farm use, it should be really every 100 hours of use, or every sort of, I suppose, 1,500 kilometres is probably about right. Depends on the usage, really. Right, so here we go. Keep the motorcycle upright, support by a jack. Okay, well, it's in the hoists, that's all good. Right, so remove drain plug 1. That's the one underneath. You can find that. And filler cap 2, no problem. Remove oil filter cap 3. There's 3 bolts there, or 3 nuts to remove there. Apply. Oh, well, that's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay, let's crack on. Right, I've warmed the engine up. Now, you won't believe, but I've just put the same gloves on that I had on all day yesterday, and they're still going. I haven't even found a single tear in them yet. Doing incredibly well. Right, let's get this drain undone. There we go. Right, so hopefully there'll be plenty of oil comes out. It should be, because it was pretty high. In fact, it was slightly over full, wasn't it, when Lily checked it? Are you ready? Here we go. Right, we'll leave that to drain for a bit. I'm going to find a rag for my socket. Right, whilst that's draining, we'll take the cap off. Ready? Cool it out. And we need to go and fit a new washer to the drain plug. It's one new washer. Now, this is usually where I draw a bit of blood, but we'll see how we get on. Sometimes I put it in the vise if it's really stubborn. It's probably never been changed since it was new. I mean, the bike's only done 5,000 Ks from new anyway, so it's probably only had a couple of oil changes maximum. So it's unlikely that Joe Blogs will have bothered to change this. Right, let's chuck it in the vise so I can get some real purchase on it. Oh, I do like my new Teng vise. It's getting dirty already though, look. It's getting used. There you go, look. We have movement. Being a bit stubborn though. But it is important that you fit a new one of these. You know, that's the whole idea. And don't forget, if you're charging out the service, then you know, you are there to make money, and the manufacturer does recommend that it is replaced. So, you know, why would you not want to make a bit of profit on a new washer? Plus, you don't like to come back with a customer complaining it's leaking. Yeah, let's see if we can get it with these. And wind it off. Problem is they squash down into the troughs of the valleys of the threads when you tighten them up. That's why they don't come off easily. That's probably one of the reasons why they don't get changed that often, because, you know, it all takes time, doesn't it? But at the end of the day, if you're charging by the hour, an hourly rate rather than a fixed price, so what, in my book? Just charge it out. Right, where's the new one? There we go. Perfect. Right, let's go and put it back in. Now, I've just checked the service manual for the torque setting for this, and it doesn't give one. It's another one that it hasn't given. It just says tighten securely. I suppose that's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it? All the threads feel good. Here we go. So we'll do exactly what the manual says, and we'll tighten it securely. So you can feel the washer crushing down. It's now crushed. I'll give it a bit of a tweak. I don't want to go mad, because it is into aluminium again, the threads, so we'll just take it easy. Right, Let's go up top side and change that oil filter. Right, we'll just slide our drain pan across a bit because it's bound to leak a bit out of here. What I do like about the Suzukis is that they use studs on here rather than a bolt that goes into the aluminium casing. Because over time, Ben found it with his TTR 250 Raid, that over time, even if you just torque them up correctly, they do, eventually those threads wear out. But this is a much better idea, to be honest. Because let's face it, it is an oil filter and you are going to change it on a regular basis. Right, what have we got in there? Okay, so we've got an O-ring that sits in that groove. We'll just pop him back in because I haven't got any O-rings, so we've got to look after this kind of stuff. There we go, I'll give that a bit of a clean later on. Oh, and there's a spring that sits in there as well. Don't lose that. Right, now for the filter, you can see it's got the one-way valve on the outside. There we go. One oil filter. Fantastic. Leave that in there to drain. We'll just give that a bit of a wipe out. I suppose we could even spray it down with some brake clean, but I really don't want brake cleaner going inside the engine, so probably best not do that. We can do the cap, that's no problem. We'll take the O-ring out to do that, just in case it damages the O-ring. Okay, let's go and find that new oil filter. So one last check, it's a HF132, that's a high flow filter. There's plenty of other ones, aftermarket ones on the market as well. Have a look. Fantastic. Now, first thing we need to do is make sure our parts guy has ordered the right one. So we'll get the old filter. Not dribbling it everywhere too far. We just want to check that they're the same length. That's very important. Make sure it's got that one-way valve in there. We turn them round, make sure that the back side is the same as well. And it's the same diameter. Perfect. Looks good to me. Well done, Ian. Appreciate that. Right, we'll pop that in there. And that's already oily. Look, doesn't matter. It's going to get oily again, isn't it? Right. Let's clean the top down and then we'll put that together. You know, I do like the new lighting in this workshop. It's not all LED lighting yet, but man, it's making a hell of a difference. So whoever mentioned that in one of the comments about a year ago when I first started doing the new workshop, thank you very much, appreciate that. Right, we'll get that out of the way because sometimes O-rings don't like brake clean. We'll give it a bit of a blast. Oh, while I'm on, this is the stuff that I'm using. I've been converted. It's bloody awesome stuff, it really is. Can't believe how good it is. Let's just tip it out onto a rag. I don't want to be destroying my 10 mat any more than I have to. Jeez! I'm just going to really controlled spray on the nozzle because it's bloody evil. It's like a fire hose, this stuff. There we go. Right, I'll give it a blow down with the airline. Right, cover your ears. Done. Yeah, it probably destroys the speaker on my phone, I know. Okay, so we're all good there. That's clean. Let's just give this O-ring a bit of a wipe down. Try not to break it because I haven't got a spare one. There we go, look. Right, we'll just sit that back in there again. We're going to make damn sure that that stays in place when we offer it back up. What I could do is put a little bit of sealant on there actually. Just some little blobs just to hold it in place. That'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Is it going to stay? Oh, it's going to... there we go. Now we'll put some blobs on it. Hang on a second. Right, so we've got this stuff from Forge. K162. Orange gasket. Perfect, that should do the trick. I'm just going to put 3 little blobs. 3 little blobs. Is it going to be orange? Is it really orange? I don't know. Go on, you can do it. Oh, there he is orange, look at that. Little tiny blobs. One there. One there. And one down here, look. And I reckon that's all we need, because we're not trying to seal it, we're just trying to hold the O-ring in place whilst we fit it. Bloody good. That's the same colour as the gloves, look. Fantastic. Right, I would say we're now good to go. Let's get that installed. Right, I've just been checking in the service manual for the tightening torque for these particular nuts, and unfortunately Suzuki don't mention it. Again, there's another torque that they haven't included. But there is a table in there that says all M6 bolts, labelled with a 4, I think a 6 newton meters, labelled with a number 10, a 10 newton, or no, number 7 or a 10 newton meter. These haven't got any numbers on, so I'm going to just do it to what I find most are done to, which is 10 newton meters. So we've got the torque wrench all set up, and I can't imagine it being any tighter than that. There we go, look. Are we on 10? Oh, we're not even on. Oh, Mr. Young. I thought I'd done this. Right. That's 9.6. There we go. Right, lock it in. Here we go. Just do them all up evenly, I think. This one's got a fair way to go by the looks of it. There we go. That's that one. That's that one. Come on, mister. You can do it, it's getting tighter. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, problem is, during the life of the bike, somebody has probably over tightened these, and it might be starting to pull on the threads on that one. Let's keep our eye open for any kind of oil leaks and stuff. Get ready to keep an eye on it, because if that's the case, it's going to need some kind of a helicoil, or what's the other one called? Time cert. I like my time certs, so I'll probably put a time cert in there. Right, okay, back off the torque wrench, and now we need some engine oil. Right, said Fred, 850 millilitres it says on there, so we'll see how we get on. I've got a litre of oil in my classic oil jug. I found this at a car boot sale years ago. Now remember, this bike's got a sight glass on it, so I can keep an eye on it. We should have a fair bit to go yet there. We'll have to run the engine up just to get all the oil galleries filled, and then check the level again. And don't forget, the engine's not at operating temperature, so we don't want to fill it all the way to the full mark, because then it'll be over full once the engine's hot. But I'll do a guesstimate for now. We should have a little bit left in the jug. Now, it's a lot easier to add oil than it is to take it out of the engine, so we'll leave it at that, and we'll see where we end up. Right, pop that out of there. Right, where's the cap? There it is. Stick that back in. We'll get it fired up, let it run for 30 seconds or so, and then turn it off, give it a few minutes to drain, and then we'll check it. Oh, what a machine! It just wants to run to this bike. It's phenomenal. Oil that's run down after we took the oil filter out down here, look. There go. Man, that's good stuff, isn't it? Right, where are we at? Okay, so that's the lower level and that's the full level. And as the oil drains out the galleries, or drains, settles in the sump, we should see that start to climb, and it is. So we don't want it all the way at the full mark. I would say somewhere around about here, a couple of mil under the full mark should be just fine. And we need some more oil. It's stopped, so we'll top that up now. Right. Mr. Fundy. Okay, tell me when to stop. You can see it better than I can. What do you reckon? Is that enough? No, a little bit more. How's that? Any good? Oh, fraction more. How's that looking? Well, that looks bang on to me, just under the full mark. Perfect. Right, we'll stick the cap on for one last time. That's the oil change done. Such an easy bike to work on, this one. I think this needs a new O-ring on it at some point, because it's going to basically hits metal to metal straight away. It's not a soft pickup, so that's all the way now. So I'll get Lilli to keep an eye on that. I'll order a new O-ring for it. Okay, one last thing to do, and that's clean the air filter. Now, the air filter is located, as we saw in the first video with Tool Girl Lilli, when she checked the bike out with us. It's located under this little cover here, look. So get out of the way. So you can see it's pretty damn grubby, and the air filter comes out through this hole by the looks of it. Never taken one of these out before, but there's a little wing nut right in the middle, so we'll undo that. And hopefully it's going to pop out real easy for us, given it's the last job on this bike. I'm so chuffed to get it all finished. Is it a wing nut or a wing bolt? Maybe a wing bolt, actually. Feels boltish. Yes. There you go. So you've got a wing bolt to take out. Stick that on the table. And now this should come out with its carrier, or its cage. Oh, there we go. Fantastic. Right, to the bench. Yep, definitely needs a clean, there's no doubt about that. So we'll just take that out of there. And then we should be able to get the filter, the element, off this little internal cage, which provides it support, otherwise it would collapse, wouldn't it? Okay, so the next job is to give this a clean. Now I think I've got some filter cleaner spray somewhere. It's a heavily bonded air filter. I don't want to risk putting it in petrol, because often it can melt the glue and I will end up having to buy a new air filter. I don't want to do that. I knew I had some somewhere. Here we look. Air filter cleaner made by Maxima. Sounds very Roman, doesn't it? Obviously been around for a long time. I don't use this very often, as you can tell, but we have got some, and it's a full can, so we're good there. Okay, let's get this mat out of the way with those bits on, and I think we'll use a drip tray just to catch all the bits. See how good it is. But you get through a few cans doing this, don't you? Oh, it stinks. There we go. Right, still plenty left there, so we'll give that a bit of a massage. Oh look, it's only lasted a day and a half, this pair of gloves. That's ridiculous. we're just going to work that cleaner through the element. You can see it bringing all the oil out, look. All that blue stuff's the old oil. Seems to be working pretty well, doesn't it? Wish I put a new glove on at the start there. Jeez. Wow. Looking pretty good actually. Right, I'm going to stick a fresh pair of gloves on and give it another go because I want it nice and clean. Here we go. I did actually find another pair of half-worn gloves that I wore a couple of weekends ago to do some undersealing on a side-by-side, and they were intact too, so but I thought, well, I better wear some clean ones for this job, because the underseal that's on them will probably contaminate the air filter, and that won't be good, will it? Right. Pretty good. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos on Toolgirl Lilli's farm bike restoration. It's a shame she couldn't have come down and given me a hand doing some of the work, but she's a very, very busy lady these days, doing lots of photo shoots and stuff, so bit of a privilege to have her down actually. Right, let's give it another go. Oh, hang on, that's brake cleaner. Wrong one. Here we go. Reckon that'll do. And we might have got away with it with petrol. I just don't know what kind of glue that they use, what bonding agent they use in these filters, and I didn't want to risk it, to be honest. So it seems I had a can of, oh man, use it in a well ventilated area, that's for sure. Jeez, seems I had a can kicking around from quite a while ago. Probably bought that 2 years ago. I might have used it once. Maybe. Oh man, look at that. Let's get the last bits out. Coolio. Well, that is a lot better than it was. Right, I'll leave that out in the sunshine to dry, and then we'll put it in fresh oil. And then it can go back in the bike. Right, last job. A few minutes out in the sunshine, nice and dry now. Pop it in there. I always keep a big box full of air filter oil. I find it much easier to, well, to basically work, you know, do the job. Same colour as well. I must use the same stuff at the other place. I've ever serviced this bike before. So we'll just work that into the filter. And you don't want too much. People always put too much on bloody air filters, and then the poor little bike struggles to get going again. Yeah, I'll just get rid of some of the excess. We don't want all that. There we go. And one last thing to do before we put it back in the bike is we need to put some grease around this sealing surface. Very important in a farm application because it gets very, very dusty in the summertime over here on the farms. So definitely a bit of grease around there. Right, we'll stick that on there. Back of the vise. Put the lid back on. And that's there till next time. Perfect. Man, doing air filters is always a messy job. Right, so we'll get the old air filter. That's the hole there, so that needs to, cage needs to go that way up. So we'll pop that in there. Oh, the tang mat's going to get a bit oily now. Such is life. I'm trying to get some new ones of these, but we don't have any at the moment, which is a bit annoying. Might have to order some online because they're really, really helpful. They're useful. Right, we'll stick that back in there again. It's not particularly well positively located, is it? Anyway, I suppose that's just the way it is. Now, need some grease. So your grease just goes around here, look. What that does is it just gives it extra kind of gooiness to help catch any dust that's trying to bypass the filter, because that's going to cause some serious harm to your engine if it gets past. This would be a good job for Lily to do, wouldn't it, really? I'm sure she'll make it up to me. If you're watching this, Lily, you're in trouble. You should be doing this. Right, that's that done. Let's get it put back in the bike and I can have some lunch. Well, here goes. Cables and all sorts of stuff in the way, haven't we? Slide those around a bit. Now I just want to make sure that cage... Oh God, I've got oil on my phone. God. Okay, just going to ease that in there. I just want to make sure that little sort of cage inside doesn't drop out. Okay, that feels pretty good. Now I'm just going to try and thread that bolt through. I'm back. Lunch came to me, so I had to eat it. So it's a bit fiddly. Well done, Suzuki. You're making it a bit awkward for me to get it in. This is the only access to the top. There is no other access. So have fun doing this. I'm sure once you've done it a few times you'll get the hang of it. Oh, that might be it. Give it a go. Yeah, I think we've cracked it. Well, not literally cracked it, I think we've done it. There we go. We won't over tighten it. Make sure it's all sealed. That looks pretty good. Cool. Quite happy with that. Now, where's the lid? Oakley darkly. So Mr. Lid goes in those two slots at the front. Hang on, with the crap. One. Oh, come on, you can do it. God, a bit crappy, isn't it? That's it. As good as it gets. Okay, right, where's a rag? Use the last bit of my brake cleaner. Coolio. Right, just the seats put back on. Oh man, so there you go, it's finished! Tool Girl Lily, your bike is done. And on the next video, the final video of this one, which should be shown, if all goes to plan, on Christmas Day, will be Toolgirl Lilli test riding her new bike across the grassy paddocks of Silverdale. So what did we do? Well, if you haven't watched all the videos, let me quickly run through all the work that's been done on this $50, plus GST, $50 barn find. It's taken me 3.5 days of filming. Was it 3.5 or 2.5? No, 2.5. 2.5 days of filming. Okay, so about a day and a half's real work. So we fitted a new battery. This is video 1, if I remember rightly. Fitted a new battery and checked the charging rate, and it wasn't charging. Sure wasn't. After a few tests, we found that the reg rectifier unit was faulty. So we found the second-hand one on another bike and replaced that, and now it charges. Great news. Broken spokes. It had 4 broken spokes in the rear wheel. We took the rear wheel out and we replaced those spokes with some more we found out of another wheel. So 0 cost. Ivan will like that. Rear tyre. I had a new rear tyre in stock. That's on the bike. Chain and sprockets. Well, if your rear sprocket looks like that, you definitely need a new one. Look at the burring on there. It's incredible, isn't it? Definitely want to get off a road bike. But farmers, man, they're alone to themselves. Yeah, they run things till they completely fail. And that's not far off from failing, to be fair. And the chain was shot. So it's had a brand new chain and front and rear sprocket fitted. Now, we've also replaced the front brake pads. They were, well, I won't say completely shot. They were pretty close to being worn out. So, you know, knowing that Lily likes to do stoppies and stuff, she's going to need some good brakes. And the rear drum brake pull rod off the brake lever was missing, and a few other bits and pieces. So, I managed to source all those parts, modify 1 or 2 bits, make it work, and it's working correctly now. What else have we got? The ignition. Yes, the ignition barrel. When you turn the key on or off, or whether you move the key at all, the ignition was always on. Probably another reason why this bike was scrapped. Well, we didn't change the ignition barrel itself because it's retained into the top clamp using security bolts. But what we were able to do is remove the switch gear from the bottom, just 2 little screws. And I found another one of these on one of the donor bikes and screwed it on, and hey presto, all fixed, 0 cost. The tail light and the indicators, I couldn't do anything with that other than just tidy it up. I did not have a new tail light unit, and the guard itself, the mount for the tail light lens was badly damaged as well. So I'll need a complete rear light assembly and a couple of new rear indicators. So I'll get those on order, and one day I'll get them fitted. And finally, the bike had a service, fresh engine oil, new spark plug, oil filter. We did the air filter. That was the last job we did on the bike. That was obviously in this video, as you saw. And of course, I gave the bike some love. I did. I went around and, you know, basically just tried to, you know, tidy the whole thing up. Any nuts and bolts that looked either damaged, I'd replaced those. Every bolt that went back on got lubed up with either copper paste or grease, depending on what kind of bolt it was. And above all, we even made a new special tool. Look at that. For fitting, it's a special tool number 36B, and that is specifically designed for fitting the steering head bearings on the Suzuki DR200S. So that can go in my little pile of special tools now, can't it? Okay, crew, well, there has been a tremendous amount of effort and work gone into resurrecting this bike. It deserved to live. It was far too good for the scrap heap. And now, it's probably got a few years of life left in it. And what's it cost me? Well, it's cost me a chain and sprocket kit, bit of engine oil, oil filter, spark plug, set of brake pads, battery, and steering head bearings. Probably New Zealand $250 all up for all the parts. Oh, and a tyre. Okay, say $300. $300 plus the initial purchase price of the bike, $50. $350 for a 2016 DR200S in good nick. That's a bargain, has to be. I'm very happy with it. Okay, got to sign off, got heaps and heaps to do. If you enjoyed the video, why not subscribe? And that way you won't miss any. Just click on the subscribe button, little gear icon will turn up, click on that, and then tick the box, turn on notifications. If you're on a smart device, just ring the bell, same thing. and our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. You can communicate through any of those portals. Also, my email address is down there in the subscription, so it'd be great to hear from you. Can't guarantee I'll get back to you straight away. I'm a very, very busy chap, but I'll do my very best. Now, if you fancy donating to support the channel, you can do that through Patreon or through the PayPal facility. You can donate through either of those two. If you're after buying one of the new Toolgirl 2020 calendars, and there's only a few left, so don't miss out, you can do that again through the PayPal icon on the homepage on the YouTube channel. Okay, crew, well, that really is about it from me. I've got a trailer to strip down and weld up this afternoon, and then I've got to edit some videos this evening, and then it's back to my day job tomorrow. Okay, crew, I'll see you around. Cheers, over and out. And we get the flip up again.
Oh!